In the next 15 minutes or so, I'm going to tell a bit about the future of commercial space and space travel and why this will impact everybody in the future. Before I start going more into depth into this, I'd like to start with a few introduction film to explain a bit about XCOR, the company I work with.
Since the dawn of humanity, we have wondered. 50 years ago, the pioneers of space travel went there. They were the first to...
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
The Apollo 11 mission made it happen.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The door to our universe had been opened. Now, it's time to take one step beyond and make space accessible. XCOR Space Expeditions will offer daily commercial flights into space. Opening up new ways of transportation and creating possibilities for a greener world by traveling in space. Both the Dutch Caribbean island of Curacao and the Mojave Desert in California will have a special spaceport. A state-of-the-art spacecraft powered by 4 revolutionary rocket engines. Going up at a dazzling pace. Total weightlessness. Earth as you've never seen it before. Do you want to be part of this? It's up to you. Space is closer than you think. This is for real.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me rewind a little bit. Ever since I can remember being a young boy, I wanted to go to space. I wanted to go to space so desperately and learn all about going to space that I built my own microscope, or telescope at the age of 10, because I wanted to see the rings of Saturn with my own eyes. And not just human space travel, but also extraterrestrial life, the Big Bang, the sheer vastness of the universe itself. And nowadays, things like dark matter and dark energy. Being a technical guy and the real computer nerd I was, and still am in some ways, that really fascinates me. And that makes me so proud to be able to work at this company called XCOR, which will make space accessible for everyone. In order to do that, we've been working for 15 years at taking a step-by-step approach. going to space is really, really hard. Rocket science is really, really hard. And after 15 years, we're almost ready to start test flying the Lynx. The Lynx is the first commercial spaceship which has the capability of taking off from a normal runway, but going into space straight up directly. In order to do so, it has 4 revolutionary rocket engines. And those rocket engines, to me and to XCOR, are the real game changer of the industry. Those engines are the first engines in the world which you can start, stop, and start again, as many times as you like. And they will last for at least 5,000 flights to space. Rocket engines, till now, are like firecrackers. You light them, they burn all the way to the end, and you can throw them away. Those engines are fully reusable. That enables us to, after touchdown, just refuel and go again, and thus doing 4 flights a day. Well, over the past 53 years, only roughly 530 people ever in the history of mankind went to space. So that's an average about 10 a year. This will totally change once we start flying the Lynx. It runs on almost standard jet fuel, in the future on biofuel, and once it's taken off, it accelerates to the speed of sound within 1 minute. You continue to build up speed till you're going about Mach 3, so 3 times the speed of sound, and then close to 4 minutes after takeoff, the engine shuts down and you're in space. The moment the engine shuts down, you'll be weightless instantly, going from higher Gs, like 2 to 3 Gs, 2-3 times your body weight, accelerating to 0 Gs, so weightlessness, at an instant. That is something that's really hard to replicate on Earth, but it's a really, really special feeling. But even more importantly is the view. Our spaceship is really small. You were sitting next to the pilot, so there's just 1 pilot, 1 passenger, with this huge glass canopy above and around you. So once in space, we will turn upside down, so you have the most beautiful view of Earth from outer space. And I've not been there yet. I've been waiting all my life, and I will go, definitely. But by now, I've talked to many, many astronauts, and they all share the same feeling, ideas, and when they tell about what it's like to be there in outer space and in the total blackness of outer space, even when the sun is shining, in the total silence of outer space, and then in our case, just the 2 of you, to look down on Earth with 7 billion people, this green and white and blue, very small planet with this extremely thin layer of atmosphere around it, it makes you an ambassador for Mother Earth itself for life. It is truly a life-changing experience. Earth from outer space makes you feel like nothing. This is the only Earth we know of where for the foreseeable future, and it's a really long time, we know for sure, we have to deal with. And once you've seen that, it'll changes your way and your views on Earth. Well, we started ticket sales for the Lynx around 3 years ago, and we're finally almost ready to start test flying our baby. Latest estimate is that around the end of Q1 next year, we'll start test flying, and we probably need about 9 months of test flying before we can start flying commercially. But so far, 300 or over 300 people have signed up to go to space with us. And one of them, well, somebody you all know and has been here yesterday and today already, is Sir Bob Geldof, as the first Irish future astronaut. And you know, he has his own way of saying things. So during astronaut training we gave him earlier this year, we made a short film which I'd like to show you about his vision on going to space.
To think that in my lifetime, you know, just a normal person can go into space is bizarre and amazing. And I'd like to do that. I'd like to see the Earth from outside. I'd like to leave the planet. The idea that you're looking at the only place there is where you can be alive. I mean, it's just the adventure, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's like being kids. You get badges and things for everything. You get cool jackets. If there isn't an excitement and a pure joy in this, and it is completely new, I mean, people forget that. This will only be done by mad fuckers, you know. Governments won't do this stuff. And yet it's very important. I mean, you know, the Wright brothers were completely fucking mad. You know, the more you know the people, the more you become engaged with it and involved with it, and you want it to work, and you want to work quickly because you want to get there yourself. No question it's pioneer stuff. It needs those people because it must be possible. I mean, these guys have fired their rockets 5,000 times. This engine works. Part of my job is getting to places around the world. That's the nature of my job. You know, airplane travel is not good for the planet. I mean, I do it all the time. So, you know, I'm as much responsible. But if I could get there using a fraction of the fuel, a fraction, like which is what space travel implies, you know, you just need bang. It's like being, you know, punched out of a cannon. And then you're in space. And then you let the world do the action. The world turns at 27,000 watts, you drop down. And that sense of adventure is very beguiling, it's very attractive, and I like it. Is that why they're doing it? No, they're doing it because it's a laugh, you know, it's fun, fuck it, you know, it's going to happen, we're going to be the guys who does it, and that's what I like.
So Sir Bob already told a bit about our future, because the Lynx, the spaceship I was telling you about, for us is only the beginning. It is a big and huge step to be able to take people to space 4 times a day. It is something that's not done before. It will make it happen. But for us, again, it's the first step to something a lot bigger. 8 to 10 years from now, we hope to test fly the first successor of the Lynx, which will be an orbital system. And orbital means a lot of things. Well, it opens, I must say, a lot of possibilities. When you go orbital, we can go to the ISS, International Space Station. We can go to future hotels in space. We can launch satellites into space at a much lower cost than done today. But maybe even most importantly, it will allow us to start point-to-point travel through space. And by going through space, that means you can go anywhere in the world, so Dublin, Sydney, for instance, in less than 2 hours. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will truly revolutionize and change the way we travel long distance forever. And the beauty of it is, it's not only a lot faster, but also a lot more environmentally friendly. Because, well, I grew up in the Netherlands, so I had to bike to school and already noticed then that the air is what you're pushing against all the time. With our planes, our trains, our cars, we're just pushing against the air. And when you go do that at higher speeds, it gets worse and worse. That is what is consuming all the energy. So if you find a way of getting to space efficiently, which XCOR has, the rest of the journey, ladies and gentlemen, is basically for free. There is no air in space. There is no resistance. That's why the ISS and the moon keep on circling without any added energy forever around the Earth. So once we can get you to space efficiently, the rest of the journey is with 0 energy cost. The only thing you have to do is brake a little bit to be able to go down and touch on the right airfield again. So that will really, really, really change the way we travel forever. Well, a trip on the Lynx nowadays, or just could go to space and back like a sightseeing tour, at this moment costs $100,000, which is a lot, but we have been able to sell over 300 tickets already. The orbital system in the beginning will be way more expensive. So in the beginning, when we start flying it, it will probably be for military use, for governments, maybe for medical priorities. But one day, price will go down. And I think 50, 60, maybe 70 years from now, we'll have easy space. We'll all have low-cost carriers through space, and everybody, 50 years from now, will have seen space. So using zero gravity and using the absence of air as a more efficient way to travel, and meanwhile having that most beautiful view on Earth, which again will make all of you, and most of you here are in this audience, are already ambassador for Mother Nature for life. Well, before I leave you, I want to give you very short, some personal advice or learnings. I'm an autosport fan, a Formula 1 fan, and I think over 20 years ago I came across this quote from one of my heroes, Mario Andretti. And of course, you use that for racing, for car racing, motor racing. But I've been using it for business for the past 20 years. But I like innovation. I like pioneering. But to be truly innovative and to be a real pioneer, there will be many, many challenges along the way. There will be sudden changes. There will be big issues suddenly rising. And the only way to be successful is to be able to deal with those. So ladies and gentlemen, be prepared.